Hello, hello, hello. It's Anne Lewis, your independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based on the Sunshine Coast here in Queensland, Australia. I teach card making and scrapbooking and love sharing my passion with you. Thanks so much for joining me today. In this step-by-step video, I will be sharing some of my favourite tips and tricks to make your card making even more enjoyable. Each of the products featured is available from my online store. The link to my online store is available in the description. So if you're watching, let me know where you're watching from and let me know what the weather is like there, because it's certainly fairly wet, rainy and even chilly, which I find pretty hard to believe. Hi Gail, how are you? What makes these projects even better is that you can use your own cardstock, pattern paper, stamp sets and inks from your stash. So whilst I give you the design, you can actually use what you have. Again, I will do a random draw, so someone who leaves a comment will receive a card from me in the mail. The more comments, the more chances. Now, wait a minute, I forgot to show you, yes, I'm here. How's everybody going? Hi Lynette, how are you? It's great catching up with you a couple of weeks ago. Hi, so the cards that I'm doing today, I'm calling a Patchwork Triangle card. Truly, I have no idea if it has another name. I had to name it because I have no idea. But there may be another name. If you know another name for it, please leave it in the comments. Hi Julianne. Hi, so let's go back to my desk. Oh, there's a couple of things I want to show you actually before I get to there. Now, I do have the new catalogue, which I will be sending out to everybody as soon as I receive them. And if you would like to go on my mailing list for catalogues and you'd like me to be your demonstrator, please, I'll put a link on my Facebook page and I'll send it out also in my next newsletter of how to sign up for it. Or you can just send me a message and then I'll send you the link. So it is full of amazing products, and what I like about it, has been completely revamped. So the other thing that comes with a new catalogue is that 2 catalogues are currently retiring, both the annual catalogue and the mini catalogue. And what happens when products retire is Stampin' Up places them normally on a small discount. This time, I have to say, Stampin' Up, I think because it's revamped its catalogue so much, has got so many products and so many of my favourites, and I'm sure so many of your favourites, for 50% off. Now, I've got, this is the annual catalogue list, and I don't know, wait a minute, oh, sorry, that is the camera. I don't know, all those that are highlighted, and I'll just turn it over, so you can see how many, just about all of them, are just about 50% off. There's a couple that are 30% off, a couple that are 20% off, a very few that aren't discounted at all, but everything highlighted is discounted. So for me, this is actually the best sale we've had since I became a demonstrator. Now I'm going to put you down on my desktop, and here are my cards. So I've used the painted lavender designer series paper for the first 2, and this one I've used Let's Go Fishing designer series paper. This one's from the annual catalogue, and this one, this paper comes from the mini catalogue. Now I did say last week that this was retiring. It's actually carrying over to an online exclusive, and I love that this paper is carrying over. Now, I know it's got a purple base, and I don't want you all to laugh at me because you do know I'm not a purple people eater. Purple is not my favourite colour. It's gorgeous grape in reality if I want to be formal about it. But in this paper, I've fallen in love with gorgeous grape to go with this paper. I don't expect it to last. It's just with this paper, it is the perfect match. So let's get started. I'll put these out of the way. Now I'm going to make this card, and I'll explain this later. I just use different measurements. So it's got a very fine border around the triangles. This one, I went a little bigger, and so it's got a bigger space. But this one is kind of like Goldilocks here. This one is just perfect. So you can see, so I'm going to be using these measurements on the cards that I'm making tonight. So let's get started. So I'll bring this card back so you can see what I'm making. Now, let's pull out my papers that I've already cut. So I've cut my card base, and as you know, if you've been watching me for a while, I keep most of my card bases standard so that I can, makes it really easy to cut out and I don't have to actually use my brain, which is always pretty good. So my card base is 8 1/4 inches by 5 1/2 inches. Then my first layer, which is in Highland Heather, is 3 7/8 by 5 1/4 inches. And then my basic white layer is 3 7/8, 3 3/4 by 5 1/8. So easy measurements. It has, as I would call it, a larger border, a fine border, and this is the layer that I'm actually working on, and you'll see that. So I'll put my gorgeous grape layer out of the way, and I've got, where is my, oh, here's my designer series paper. Now this one's interesting because it's got a one-way pattern. I can't really cut it like this. Oh, actually, I meant to do something different. But anyway, I might do it on the next one. So it's got the gorgeous grape on the back, and as you can see, it's kind of got a muted lavender pattern on the back. I think you can see that. So it's really gorgeous. Now I'm going to grab my, oh, wait a minute, before I do that, I'm going to show you this paper in the mini catalogue. It is on page 24, 25 of the mini catalogue, and you can see it is pretty, it's a gorgeous feminine feel to this, the whole suite. So this is this, I'm using a little bit of this stamp set, and I'm on the first card I used Happy Mother's Day. I'll just show you that, Happy Mother's Day, which is from the Perennial Postage stamp set. Because Mother's Day is about 5 weeks away. But as you can see, these samples are just so cute. So the stamp set is called Painted Lavender, I'm sorry. So that's it there. I'll get those hopefully out of the way. Now, there's a couple of things I'm going to do to make this job easy, because it can go terribly wrong. Well, righto, it can't really go terribly wrong, but it does require a few tips so it works out really well. So I'm grabbing my pencil and really lightly I'm drawing on the basic white from corner to corner. So I want to make sure I'm right in the corners. Now, whilst I'm being really careful with this, I've been a little too careful and pressed too lightly. To be honest, this is a guide. It does not you don't have to work to this guide. I found it a lot easier once I had the guide, and you'll see what I mean when I go to put this together. This is really, it's a pretty quick card once you know how to do it. Oh, that's not very good. Where's my rubber? Didn't do that well. So I wanted to go right to the corner. I think I must have moved it. Oh, that's it now. I know. So I just leave that as a bit of a guide, and I can rub out those marks if they show through. Then I'm grabbing my paper trimmer, high Glenda, okay, and you're getting a little purple feast from me at the moment. I've been doing a few purple cards. Normally I could probably go 10 years without using purple card. So all I want to do is cut this from corner to corner and then diagonally again. So as I always say, if I'm cutting from corner to corner, I want to start my blade on the center. I don't want to come in from the edges, hit those corners and crease them up. And to line it up, I've used my cutting track here. So I've got my corner on here and my corner on the cutting track at the top. Now, I found this is one of those little tips, and it made it on the last one a lot easier. So let's hope it still makes it easier. I got a little bit of low-tack tape. Now I'm using washi tape this time, just to hold this together so it doesn't move no matter what I do. And I do remove that, but that just lets me fiddle with this, turn it around, keep it together, so I'm not trying to hold it together as well as cut it. And then as soon as I get it in the right spot, I'm just going to peel this off. Hopefully I do this easily. Now I want that paper to stay together. So again, put this here, drop this down, which will lock the paper in place. Check it that it's cut onto the cutting track. Now, so here's my pieces. Now I'm going to pick them up. I do want to try and keep them in order. That will save a little bit of time later. Now, on the first card that I made, which is this one, I didn't do the same technique. I used two different sheets of paper. And for those that are familiar with the stack, cut and shuffle technique, you can definitely do it with this. You would just need four cards that you'll come up with and four sides of the paper. So let's bring this back over here. So I'm going to put this, I'm just having a little play with it so I know what I'm doing. This one I'm going to turn over. This one here, so it turns over as well. Now I'm going to bring it a little closer to me. Now the secret, or is that trick after doing a few of these, is you want to, and I'm going to bring this one back because this is, can I say, the perfect one, is that you want, if you can, and it does take a little bit of fiddling, that line, sorry, this diagonal feature and the border feature to be the same size. That's what you're aiming for. Doesn't always happen, but let's have a go. So I'm using some of my multi-purpose glue. I recommend a multi-purpose, the liquid glue, because it gives us a little bit of wiggle room, which we definitely need for this card. So I'm not going to muck around on this. I don't want too much glue though. Just slide this off so I can pick it up. So Good. Now I've got it on my fingers. Right, so let's put this down. Now, you want it nice and straight, and you want to just on the inside of that drawn line. But don't get too obsessed with that drawn line. If you do, it won't actually work. So I'm going to do this one next. I can't remember when I did the other card, whether I did top, bottom, and then sides. But let's see. So you can now see how easy it is to get this and that the same. That one's worked. As always, it's always the last one that you have trouble with, if you're going to have trouble. As I said, it's not a difficult card. Just with a few tips and tricks, it becomes an easy card. So I'm just checking. It's all very quiet out there. Again, I want to get it nice and square. And let's hope that this, look at that, it's kind of going to be pretty good. As I said, it's not a card that you have to obsess about. We know card making, or handmade card making, isn't about making it, everything being perfect. It's being made with love, to be honest. There we go. Now, if these weren't lining up perfectly, I'm going to grab my bone folder just to make sure that's all glued down. Now, I'm not going to rub out those lines just yet because I want to be able to make sure that's dry, and it may take a little while. Now, I didn't explain that a stack, shuffle, and cut card normally it has only 3 pieces. This one, if you use this technique, would have 4. So, hi Marianne. It is a perfect, as I said, I think my house is growing, but not growing, getting bigger, just picking up some mold, and there's so much moisture in the air here. So it's eventually going to go on there, and you can see how that then pops. But, you see you've got you need something. You desperately need something. So what I've pulled out, here I can't find my pieces. I've already done the die cutting. Here they are. Rubber. I think I could probably rub this out now, just in case you can see it. As I always say, a blind man would be happy if they could see that mark. Right. Now, I have used what they call the Stylish Shapes dies, and I'll show you what they like. You see me use them just about every week. They're definitely my go-to ones. Everyday details, which tie in with these, also look really good. But I have used just check, I think it's this one. It is. So it's the second largest square die. So I've already die cut that out. Now, the reason I die cut it is I was going to use my mini cut and emboss, which I find for me, because as you know, my arm is great, but it's too wide. It doesn't look too wide, but it is. And so that's okay. Now, I'm going to be using the Gorgeous Grape. And I've got this stamp set, which comes from the Charming Sentiments. As you see, I've used it a fair bit. If it's stained, I've used it lots. So it says, wishing you everything wonderful. So let's stamp this up. Now I have to do this at an angle. Now normally I would stamp first, die cut second. So it's a little trickier this way, but I think we can do it. So the easiest way to do this is actually use your grid paper. So line it up on that main line, or I could draw a main line down if I wanted. Then I know it's going to be nice and square. I've got my stamp on my block nice and square. So let's give this a go. I think that's pretty good. I kind of want it centered. Then I'm going to, I'm going to add, it's still too plain for me. You can see what that does to that card. It makes it really pop. So I'm going to add in Highland Heather one of the lavender stamps from the painted lavender. Now I've got paper. I know. So I've stamped it up, but it's going to be too dark, and I'll show you what it would. I'll get rid of that. Got a bit of rubber left. So I'll stamp here, and you'll see how dark this would be. So that's too dark for me. I want it nice and light. Whoa, nearly put it in the ink pad. I do have a history of that. So I'm going to, so this you would call second generational stamping. So I've taken off the first generation. I want this to be nice and subtle. Now this all I think will be a little lighter than the other one. Oh, it's a little darker, but that's okay. I might have taken a little bit. Oh. It's a little darker than I expected. So I'm going to pop this up here. But I've got some die cut leaves from the painted lavender bundle. So I use this die here, which I absolutely love. You can see that. And this kind of plain one here, just to add a little bit of the green as a contrast. And I've used some of my scraps from the Designer Series paper. Truly, I had so few scraps that one of my dies had to miss a little bit because it wouldn't even fit on. So now, there's lots of different ways you can do this. But I want it on a bit of an angle, and I can choose which way I actually want this to go. So this one I have put this way. You can choose whatever works for you. And it's fairly easy. I'm going to try and just use some double-sided tape and see if this makes it quick and easy. It may not work. I'll burnish it, pick this up. Right, so I just want these. I want it to come down here. I don't want a lot showing, just want a little bit showing. So we'll try that. Might be a bit much, but anyway, we'll always trim it, and then I can put this on as well. So I'm not spending a lot of time on this. And then I'm going to do the same on this side. I might have, that's probably a little too long, but anyway, the other way you can do is use glue dots, or you could use some of the multi-purpose glue as well. Now, so we're putting this at the same angle. So check this. So I want it to go along there. Then I'll use some dimensionals to pop this up. And then I'll grab some, I can't remember the name of them. I think they're called Fine Shimmer Gems, which are from this suite, and add them to add it, make it pop a little bit more. I know. So there we go. Now, again, I want to get this to line up in the center, and I haven't got anything to line it up with. I'll move this over, close this up so I don't have a disaster. And I'll line this up in the center. I always double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I've got it right on the center. Then I've got a bit of a guide of how to get this nicely centered here. Now I could go up as well, but I think I will do this okay. Whoops, just haven't got it right in the center. So I want to make sure. Oh. Right, there we go. So it's a little darker than I wanted. I didn't trial it and remind me. So there we go. And I want some of these little gems, which I've been using a fair bit of actually. Once I dragged the gorgeous grapes out, these worked perfectly. So I'm using the larger ones because I've got a few left over. I think these are retiring, but I'm not sure they're on sale. I'm not sure. I didn't check that before I came online. The stamp set and everything is carrying over, as is the next one that I'm using as well. So here we go. Now, so that's done. This is my stamp set. Then I won't tonight, but I would just add from the matching designer series paper a little strip at the bottom. I've left this open because I've got a generic sentiment on the front. It could be a happy birthday inside, it could be a thinking of you, it could be a congratulations. There's so many things that you can do with this sentiment. So I'm going to leave that open. Oh, sorry about knocking you around then. And let's pop this up. That's my last job. And then we'll do the fishing one. Now I'm meant to do this with my sample, but I didn't. I'm going to make it a portrait one. So there we go. So where's my original? Here's my original card. As you see, I like the lighter look a little better, but I like this smaller space. Now, my designer series paper for this was cut at 4 7/8 by 3.5. So that's my designer series paper. I don't think I gave you that measurement before. I'll get rid of these and let's move on to the second one, because it's really a simple card. But this one I still kept in portrait, but I'm going to make my sample in grab all my pieces. So this is the stamp set that I used. I've got a whole lot of little pieces on this one. And again, same measurements as the first card, so I don't intend to go through that. Let's zip it through. Now, one of the tips I didn't let you know on the first card is generally I will cut my inside sentiment layers, so these layers here, exactly the same as my layers on the front, which makes it easier. I don't have to remember too much. I'm using Pebbled Path. I've got my, it's got a little mark on it, we'll turn that over. I've got Very Vanilla this time. Now, I don't know whether you can see this, but this is another one of those tips. Here's this I've cut from this side. I've got a mark on here, so I'm going to have to turn it over. Don't like that. It's like a little ridge. So all I have to do is use my bone folder to get rid of that ridge. So again, I'll stick this together. Oops. That's my little piece of washi tape. This is, as I said, it's such a good card because you can use what you already have. And I love the cardstock that I've used. This was my masculine card idea, and I'm trying to do more masculine cards. Who likes masculine cards? Who wishes I did more of them? So again, I'm going to grab my ruler. Let's make this a bit quicker. Probably should have ruled this up before I stuck it down. As I said, this is just a guide. It's not something you have to get too carried away with when you're lining it up. So there's my lines. Hopefully you can see it. Grab my paper trimmer. Now this has an up and a down pattern, so that's just a bit of a trick. I want to get those corners right on the cutting line. Bring this up here. Again, I'm going to line this up. Get it nice and straight. Where's my little piece of washi tape? You know, I could get another piece, but I'm not going to. I want it low tack anyway. I want it nice and close together, as if it's not cut. I'll put this here. Make sure I'm still happy with it. Spin it around. Make sure it's on that cut. Remove this. The reason I remove it, just in case it doesn't cut, whatever you use. I think mine would. Check those corners again. And cut again. Right. This time, I'm going to slide it off. My trimmer. This time though, oops, whoa, that comes, I just the thing pulled out. I picked it up by this back together. Wait a minute, it will be in a second anyway. But if it pulls out, it just is made to drop back in. There it goes. You haven't broken it. So here's my piece of cardstock. This time I'm going to go, oh, my pattern's not going to work the same. Anyway, I'm going to show you it's just as easy to do this in a landscape card. So they're just going to go sideways. Let's grab that glue. Speed this up a little bit. So any comments on mail cards? Anyone got some ideas? Or do you keep them really simple? I like them. I like a mail card that's simple in design but has a little wow factor. Now, my difference between my basic white or this one's very vanilla layer is 1/4 inch. So it's 1/4 inch smaller, my DSP, which is good to know because if you change up your layers, if you do it more than that, you get a bit of a too big a gap. Smaller than that, it's too small. Now, I'm doing this. Oh, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go around like I did before. So I'm mainly making sure that this piece here, this border here, and this piece, this border here, is as best I can to making it even. I've already glued this piece. This is why you need that liquid glue to have a little bit of a move. So my designer series paper is 4 7/8 by 3.5. And then I've cut it into these 4 quadrants. There you go. Oop. Moved it a bit. Grab my bone folder again. Just make sure. Now this time, I can pop this up here if I want to. So this time my card is going like that. And I'm going to use a sentiment going this way, which unfortunately I haven't got the sentiment that goes that way, but let's see what I can find somewhere. Now, I've used some designer series paper. I don't know whether you can see that pattern just there. So it's from the Gone Fishing, but I've also die cut using the, oh, it's over here, the Countryside Corners, which I'm also pretty sure is carrying over to online exclusives. So I've used this second one in. Now, I did die cut both because I wanted this to be nice and have a bit of strength about it. So I've added it to some cardstock. Whoa! Oh, no, that's okay. Thought I'd done something wrong there. So it's just a way, if you're worried about your designer series paper not being strong enough, is you can do that. Now, the challenge is, because this stamp goes long ways, and which makes it a bit of a nuisance, because now I need a sideways one. And I've got such a big sentiment. What else have I got? Oh, sorry. What else have I got here? I might have something on here. I can't thank you enough. That one will work. But you'll have lots of stamps in your stash that you'll be able to use. So I think this will work quite well. And I'm nice and straight. I'm going to be using Mossy Meadow for this. And before I... having trouble with this one. They're not that difficult. I'll make it look difficult. So... let's see how we go with this. Can't think enough. It's the perfect size. Just want to get it nice and square. There we go. Now, I've got some open. I've got some linen thread, which is my all-time favourite, which is back in the new catalogue as well, thank heavens. I'm just going to do a bit of a wrap around it. So, there's lots of different ways you can do this. I want it this end. Didn't do that very well. There's a pair of scissors. Now, this just makes it fairly easy. Now, men's card, I'm going to, I need a bit more than that. Men's card, I'm not going to tie a bow on it, I'm just going to wrap it around. So the tear and tape on the back just gives me the ability to stick it down. And then, I don't want this to, I don't know whether you can see this, I don't want it to stick to my paper. As I said, you could use glue dots here as well. So I'm just going to tie a bow, not a bow, a knot here. Trim these up. Pop this up with dimensionals. One in the center so it doesn't collapse. So I quite like this design in portrait. It's just a little hard for me to line this up. I think I've got that, because as you know I'm a fair way away from it. Again, I'll add some dimensionals on the back here. I've got a layer for the inside and I'm going to stamp, I think they're a fly, a No Fisher woman. I think it's a stamp of a fly on the inside. So let's get this up the right way. So nearly fell for it. There we go. Get rid of that. So it's a cute card. And let's add this, the insert, which must be sitting here. Now, I did cut these from that same die set, being the country, whatever it was, what is it called? The countryside corners, because I was going to put, you know, like a little, it's going to have a little play. But I think we're just going way, way, way too much. So let's grab the die here. I've got a little corner on there with a bit of ink on it. Remember, I'm putting this sideways this time. So, or portrait, as I would say. This, I think, as I said, I'm no expert on this. I think it just goes like that. Stamps beautifully. Now, I always say that some of our inks are really intense, and Mossy Meadow isn't as intense as like Berry Bliss, Blueberry Bushel. I always give it a couple of secs longer. It doesn't take long, but a couple of secs longer. to dry. There we go. Then, so now for anybody who is local to me, I intend to do a card class on the 21st, which will be my normal technique card class. I'm going to be doing some fancy folds. And also on the 7th of April, I'm going to do basically a mini charity day so we can make some cards for drought angels who are desperate for cards to put in their packages that they send out west because they're always short of mail cards. So I thought we would make 4 cards, two for you to keep and 2 to send to drought angels so that they can throw in their hampers. So which one do you like? Do you like the portrait or the landscape one? To be honest, I think I've fallen in love with the landscape one, well, which really is surprising. And these are the other cards. I'll get rid of that. So we've got that card, this card, and this card that we made tonight. So for all you purple lovers, do you like the masculine card or the gorgeous grape card? Also, Glenda likes portrait in this one. And which one? The which gorgeous grape or the choice of masculine cards is your favourite? And remember, I will be drawing a random name out of the hat and sending them their favourite card ASAP. I know I'm a couple of weeks behind, but I'll get to that first thing tomorrow. Lynette loves them all. Thank you, Lynette. Love your attitude. Ideo. Let's keep going. I'm going to go. Thank you so much for joining me. Remember, if you like this video, I'll come back up here. If you like this video, please let me know by liking my live and sharing it with crafty friends. If you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and my Facebook page. So that's Glenda Lavender's favourite. Oh, and also Glenda Smalls. Ideo. So thank you very much. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it. Thanks everybody. Can't wait to see you next week. Only got another couple of Facebook Lives before I take off on holidays. I do have, don't forget that the joint video with Christine is going to be a question and answer video. So if you've got some questions for me or for Christine, don't forget to send them in to me. I'll take them over. I'm just going to name drop now, over to Mexico where we're going to be together at a Stamping Up event. And we will answer them live instead of our normal crafting one. So perfect opportunity if you've got that question. It could be, why do you hate purple? Can't answer that one, but I'm sure there's a reason somewhere. Thanks everybody. Have a fabulous week.